I'm going to do one more story time here. I'm here in my little cubby hole out the wind by the barn. And this one may be a little shorter. Probably good. But back right after I first started with the Wildlife Agency here in my home state, a influential commissioner and a captive facility owner, and then another captive facility owner bought in later, pressed some of us and some professors at the local university down the road here to do a project, and they funded it. It was called the Environment and Genetics Project. And the project basically comprised of us going to 3 different soil regions in the state, trapping deer, and taking them to holding facilities. One was a university captive facility. That's okay. That captive facilities provided a lot of very useful information for decades, so okay. But then there were others. We trapped deer from the Delta. The Delta was the highest quality soil that we trapped deer in. The thin loess was the intermediate soil quality region that we trapped in. And then we also trapped deer in the lower coastal plain, and that was the lower quality, and there were fewer of them and they were smaller, and that was very difficult to catch deer in. The Delta and the thin loess was hard but very doable. Lower coastal plain was very difficult. But we spent 2 Februaries and Marches trapping deer, the entire technical staff. And we placed them in holding facilities at 3 different captive facilities and 1 university captive facility. All right. I don't have a problem with the university captive facility. It is what it is. To do research, you have to hold deer. Okay. But remember that the enclosure owners funded the project, and the entire technical staff was seized for 2 months of the year for 2 years, and they did nothing basically but this. And the DMAP clubs, WMAs, were basically left to their own devices and area managers. For those 2 months of the year, nothing else got done but deer trapping. So is that a misappropriation of funds? What do y'all think happened to the deer when the study was over years later? Some of them were euthanized because they weren't very good. Some of them wound up in the enclosures that they were housed at. So you have private entities throwing money at a project to get deer from different soil regions into their facilities for research, and the research was valid. The research was legal. They were considered private cooperators, but there was another facility that was initially proposed that was trumped by the owners at another smaller university that was proposed for usage. The project ended up, what the goal was to take deer from these 3 soil regions, put them on even kill feed, and see what happened through 2 generations. And who'd have thought? Put them on the same food. The deer from the lower quality soil region caught up after a couple of generations, pretty close. They didn't catch up on body size, they caught up on antler development. Huh. Who'd have freaking thought? It ain't like we didn't already know the damn answer. But we had to send the entire technical staff to trap deer for 2 years and house deer, put them in private facilities and one university facility, which is legitimate. And the research was nothing illegal about it, except the fact that these captive facilities that funded the project had a pretty clear conflict of interest in getting to keep the deer. But that's what happens. So, yeah, the research was valid. It did what it did. It showed us basically more or less what we expected. But I found it very interesting that we had to go do that at the whim of a couple of wealthy enclosure owners. And we did it as research. And we added some different deer to their facility. But they had to wait a long time. They had to wait the initial generation to pass away and then the F1s, F2s. So they had to wait. But they eventually got what they wanted. So I want you to think about the fact that sometimes the people in the field know what's best to do and they're silenced. And with that, y'all have a good one. Appreciate you. Keep swinging the axe.